Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another insane edition of Paradigm Shift in Educational Comedy. I'm Dave Kelso. You probably already know who I am if you've been watching this channel. Anyway, this is yet again going to be another one of those videos where I do my best to remain conscious of the time, and I do my best to make it as short as possible. Not to say that this video is necessarily going to be short, per se, but as short as I can make it. With that said, moving on. Seeing as New Agers do not hold the copyright on esoterics, you don't have to be a New Ager to watch this video on this topic. I'm certainly not a New Ager, but these topics are definitely very fascinating. With that said, moving on to the next point, I'm going to give some pre-qualifiers for this video so that everybody knows whether or not it's the sort of thing that they want to watch. Everybody's time's valuable and all that, so you need to make sure you're not wasting yours. Point one, got to basically make sure that you're not easily, the sort that's easily offended by every little thing, because Paradigm Shift in Educational Comedy is very politically incorrect. So if you're a social justice warrior or other similar-minded person, go sodomize yourself with a culturally appropriated baton. Ooh, well, most of the SJWs just hit close on this video, so we should be pretty good from this point forward. All right, so as per the topic of this video, has the law of attraction been replaced? Well, the next pre-qualifier is just know that I can't help but use buzzwords and metaphor because that's all language is. So people who are more literalist in their thinking are going to have a hard time with this one. Please note that I will clarify what I mean by the words that I'm using. So if you're impatient, highly impatient, this video is probably definitely not going to be for you because you're not going to want to wait for the clarification. You're going to get frustrated. So, okay. I think I got all the pre-qualifiers out of the way now. So moving forward. Law of attraction, has it been replaced? Well, what is the law of attraction anyway? Well, it's a fancy buzzword to mean quantum entanglement and, as Einstein liked to call it, spooky action at a distance, or in biblical terms, as above, so below, and like attracts like. Now, obviously, a law of physics in and of itself cannot be replaced or go obsolete, but our relationship to something can change, and because humans are extremely buzzwordy and don't do the whole change thing easily. Yeah, so it's kind of like we're redefining things because humanity's in the process of growing up a bit, and so of course, kind of like how what we're taught in kindergarten doesn't necessarily contradict what we're taught in 8th grade. It's definitely a very different type of presentation and will appear as if it is contradictory if someone doesn't know that, hey, you got to go through the grade levels and the explanation is kind of custom molded to the a person's level of information processing. So as that level increases, the way the information is presented changes. So kind of like how most of us still don't play with toys for 3-year-olds anymore, and our toys get upgraded, computers, cars, motorcycles, whatever. But anyway, so moving on. For those who are not clear, again, about the law of attraction, I just explained what it is in science terms. Let's explain the buzzwordy, the New Age movement buzzwordy stuff. They have an oversimplified view of this. Well, in my opinion, it's oversimplified anyway. That basically, for any of you who've ever watched the documentary called The Secret, they oversimplify it as ask, believe, and receive. Majorly overly simplified. Even the guy who helped put it together, Bob Proctor stated in his documentary Beyond the Secret, that the secret was incomplete, it was oversimplified, and as such gave a lot of people totally the wrong idea. So that's already been admitted to. I'm just saying the sky is blue for those of you who might not already know. So now that you understand that a lot of New Agers, because of this, kind of treated the laws of quantum physics as if it was a new god or a Santa Claus or whatever savior, or that sort of analogy that you might want to put on that to make the point. And now that we know that there's a difference between that and actual physics and science and all that, so now that we've got the logical fallacies out of the way, obviously when I ask the question, has the law of attraction been replaced, I'm really asking the question, has our understandings of physics increased to the point where we're going from kindergarten to maybe third grade? And the answer there is yes. So when I say it's been replaced, I'm doing the whole buzzwordy thing so that the people that are locked into the old buzzwords don't get frickin' confused. Well, they might still get a little confused, but hopefully we're doing some damage control on that. And one moment, I'm on a live stream.
Point about the paint, you're supposed to turn the light on when you walk up and down the stairs.
Duh.
Well, it doesn't matter what color.
I do turn the light on when I walk up and down the stairs.
I don't know. We used to laugh at Dad who turned the light off to go up and down the stairs.
I don't know why you're telling me this, because I always turn the light on. That's kind of common sense.
Okay, well, you said it needs a brighter light to go to the show.
Brighter, yes, because look at the wallpaper. It's not exactly, that copper color wallpaper is not exactly the most efficient with light reflection. And I am on a live stream, and my audience doesn't care about ceilings and walls right now.
Okay.
Yep. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway. So, yeah. Sorry for wasting your time there. So moving on. What do I mean by the law of attraction being replaced, and what has it been replaced with? Well, I'm going to, again, use an entirely new set of buzzwords, because really that's the only way that people tend to be able to understand anything. Language is all buzzwords anyway. I recently posted a status about this on my Facebook profile that says, "Attention New Agers. In this new higher frequency, the law of attraction has been rendered obsolete. The new physics is the law of compassion. With this law, you face tyranny and fear and manifest the positive through compassionate action. Ignoring the dark won't get you anywhere. You will learn this whether you like it or not. The only question is, you want it the easy way or the hard way?" Alrighty. So for the rest of you, what does this mean? What am I saying here? What am I on about? Here's what I'm on about. One thing I've noticed, there's kind of just been this huge divide between, shall we say, the spiritual and the pragmatic, or the conspiracy nuts and the unicorns and butterflies people. You know what I'm saying? The New Agers, who would typically shun the dark. Oh, it's dark. Shun that, without realizing that that is a trap of spiritual narcissism. And if you're Christian or some other religion or whatever, you're not off the hook either, because y'all do the same shit. So anyway, right now in this world, it's like these new revelations that I'm just putting new buzzwords to. Again, don't worship buzzwords, otherwise you're making the narcissism mistake. Don't be a tool of the tools. Tools are for us to use, they're not for us to conform to. So yeah, as we're facing shit, we're facing our messes in the world, like things are like really kicking up, right? So before things started getting hot and heavy, that whole idea of using the quantum physics to shun the dark and just bring in all the good stuff worked to a point, just to a point, and then it led to a common question. I mean, you can do Google and YouTube searches and all this and that. No shortage of people have asked this question. And the most common question within LOA is, well, I don't seem to have any trouble manifesting, but I can't really seem to hold on to what I manifest. What am I doing wrong? Well, you're not doing anything wrong. It's a perceptual logical fallacy thing. So again, going back to earlier, like what I was stating with the new age misunderstanding of quantum physics laws, where they're kind of treating physics like a genie or a Santa Claus or a savior or something. They tend to only consider it a manifestation if it's something that their ego plays nice with, or shall I say, the false ego, the malware, the ones that the fucked up programming that has basically made statism, and by statism I mean it in more like the Hitler Zig Heil context, our new god, bow to Wall Street, bow to materialism, so on, so on and so forth. So basically, for all these years, they've been under this impression that almost like a social justice warrior, I'm going to make the analogy here, almost like a social justice warrior, they've been under this impression that like, oh, if it doesn't offend me and my false ego gets stroked and, ooh, I love it, then it counts as manifestation. But otherwise, oh my God, it must mean I'm failing to manifest. No. Here's what it means. If you use quantum physics to get that new car, let's say, and that kind of shit does actually happen, go look it up, but you don't have that adult, rational, mature sense of responsibility, ability to respond, you're not grown up enough to be able to keep that new car. You're going to lose that new car because obviously that new car is going to need a maturity level to be able to maintain it. Let me give you a classic example with a friend of mine back in the day, right? He aligned with a new Porsche, right? And he got this Porsche for only $3,000. It was either a 1978 or 1979 model, V8 fuel injection. I mean, this thing was sweet. As Dennis Leary might say, all leather cow interior, and this thing was in almost perfect condition. So you're probably sitting there thinking, wow, why was this such a good deal? Why only $3,000? What was wrong with this car? Was there something wrong with the car? No, nothing was wrong with the car. It was in damn near perfect condition. Here's where the problem came in. Porsche, because it is what it is, and when you pay for something, you're not paying for research and development. You're not paying to recover the cost factor of what was put into it. And hell, you're not even paying for a fair amount of profit so that the company can expand. You're paying for a label and a brand name. And when you're paying for a label and a brand name, you can price gouge that shit in every way, right? So my friend discovered, oh my God, the labor, like you got to go special to the Porsche place to have this thing worked on. So like unless you study up to become a freaking Porsche technician or whatever, you got to go to the Porsche repair place in order to actually have that worked on. And they charge out the ass. And then on top of it, because of that brand name, every little freaking part is like double, triple, quadruple in price for what it would be for like, a normal car part. So like everything from like car mirrors to whatever, they just like jack it. They bend you over and they stick it in because it's Porsche and they can. So if you haven't gotten your life together enough to be able to bring in enough money to be able to handle those sorts of expenses without that hurting your checking account, well, then of course you're not going to be able to quote unquote keep your manifestation. You're gonna be just as desperate to sell that car as the last sucker was who bought it, because that is exactly what the frick happened. The person who he bought it from had that same shit happen. Like, oh my God, keeping and maintaining a Porsche is freaking expensive and I don't make that much money. So, you got to do this thing that the social justice warriors seem to be allergic to, and that is learning how to take adult personal responsibility. Because if you don't do that, then nothing's going to work in your life. Because regardless of what the laws of physics are or are not, nothing's going to be handed to you. Nothing's going to be done for you. You have to do for yourself. You have to hold your own penis when you pee, if you're a male. You got to tie your own shoes. You got to wipe your own butt. No one's going to do everything for you. But the world has gotten into this entitlement attitude that they expect political saviors and spiritual saviors. Ooh, Obama is going to wipe my butt for me. Ooh, Trump is going to build that wall and wipe my butt for me. Ooh, saviors, saviors, saviors. Quantum saviors, political saviors, all these different saviors. Guess what? What you put out is what you get back. So the tyranny in this world, the organized crime that runs this freaking planet, and it does, and that's not a conspiracy theory, is giving you the opportunity to move into compassionate action, to manifest the positive by learning to take some personal responsibility, face the messes, and help clean up the mess. You are, as Abraham Hicks likes to say, you are a cooperative component of the situations you find yourself in. That's not a fault or a blame. It's just that a circumstance is a configuration. So just like a computer program or an engine or whatever, these things, in order to work, in order to run, need to be configured a certain way. Just like if you look at a classic engine, not a fuel injection, or actually, yeah, maybe a fuel injection too. Oh, that's right. I'm not a car guy. Everything has pistons regardless. Duh. If you replace the pistons with, I don't know, banana peels, that is a cooperative component for an engine that's not going to function at all. So if you want a functional engine, then the cooperative component for that engine is going to be the freaking piston. So if we're living in a world of tyranny, and we are, guess what? It means we've all been cooperative components to that, because silence is consent, and we've been complacent. And what you resist persists, which is like another New Age misunderstanding, and that's where the, let me put it to you this way. People think, if we ignore the tyranny, then we're not putting any resistance on it, so then it's not going to persist. But no, here's the thing. What the New Agers have been doing, they've been resisting the knowledge of the tyranny. They've been resisting using that knowledge to create solutions to put an end to the tyranny. So because they've been resisting the very positive reality that they've been wanting, the negative reality that they don't want fucking persists, because they've been sitting there in a spiritual bubble of narcissism, masturbating to their smug social justice warrior selves, thinking that if they just focus, they can ascend to the fifth dimension. Bitch, if you haven't earned 3D, what the fuck makes you qualified for 5D? It don't work that way. So anyway, the law of compassion is the new law, or at least it's what I'm calling it. The expansion of our awareness in relation to the physics. I mean, obviously physics doesn't change, it's physics, but as our relationship to it changes, then we use new buzzwords, because language is just like that. So we're growing up a bit more. So we're realizing, instead of the entitlement toddler tantrum, gimme, 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 mine, 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 we're realizing that we got to take some personal responsibility and actually have some empathy and some compassion, that instead of being triggered as fuck by everybody who is able to relate with us about our own mental malware, instead of being blinded by the Plato's cave reflection and that quantum mirror, you go into compassion and empathy mode, and it's like, oh, that person can relate to what I've been through. So I think I'm going to go over and comfort them, not coddle them. Coddling's bad. I'm going to comfort them and let them know, hey, you're not alone. And I can't do all the work for you, but if you want assistance, I can help do it with you. You see, that's another thing most people don't understand about what it means to help someone. Helping someone doesn't mean do it for them and making them dysfunctionally codependent on some sort of nanny state mentality to where they're always wanting more and more from you, so you're just feeling completely fucked over and used. That's not help. That's the opposite of help. Help is when two people share in something. They're doing an equal amount of the work, right? They're doing it together, like both pedals on a bicycle. It's not like only one foot's doing the work while the other foot's doing nothing. You're using both feet to pedal the bike. You're both cooperating. That's what real help is. So someone who has more experience and has learned how to work their way through something can then help someone who doesn't have as much experience, who's feeling stuck, help them learn to pedal that bike, so to speak, but only if they're willing. Because you can't force anybody to see what you're on about. You can't convince anybody of anything. If someone has decided, oh, misery's the only real reality, fuck it, and I'm just going to remain stuck in this, you're not obligated to go down with the Titanic, and it doesn't make you a bad, horrible, terrible, discompassionate, empathy-lacking person to get on that lifeboat, or better yet, don't board the Titanic at all. It doesn't make you a horrible person. Your compassion towards that person, using that, you will let them know that they have a choice. And if you're not being a narcissistic douche, you won't try to force them into a choice. You'll just remind them, hey, you have a choice. The sky's blue, water's wet, fire burns, rocks are hard, but whatever you want to do, I know I can't affect that. So all you can do is remind them nicely, but don't try to force them, because then you just look like a narcissistic asshole. And that's been the problem in the New Age movement. They've gotten as pushy as a religion. Oh, you have to think like I do. Otherwise, you're of a negative vibration. Oh, you're such a low vibration. You're of the dark. Yeah. Living in fear of lowering your vibration. That's just so fucking positive, right? I don't think so. So yeah, a lot of New Agers are having some rude awakenings right now. So this video is for those types that are starting to realize that they can't be an emotional and intellectual toddler forever, and that if they want their life to become easier, they're going to need to do some of that growing the fuck up. And I don't mean in that Captain Akbar, it's a trap sort of way where the Orwellian idea of growing up is actually doing the opposite. I mean literally actually growing up to where you realize, oh, I'm actually capable of doing stuff. So maybe I should figure out how to do something other than sitting there and whining. So, yep, that is all I have to say on this topic. I hope it's been helpful to you. And anybody who's watched who doesn't have this particular problem, if you know some new agey unicorny person who maybe needs the reality check, feel free to toss them this video. Oh, and by the way, like, share, subscribe, check me out on the other aspects of social media, so on and so forth. And if anybody ever wants to come on here on a live stream and talk about this, that, and whatever, hit me up. You can drop me a note on DeviantArt, paradigm-shifting.deviantart.com. You can hit me up on Facebook. Of course, if you already have my Skype, you can hit me up on Skype. I'm on minds.com. I'm all over the place. So, I'm not hiding in a hole. If you want to have a conversation about stuff and go on air and chit chat and see what the public reaction is about it, then cool. I'm always down for some good brain stimulating conversation. So yeah, just let me know and we'll see how our schedules align, and we'll go ahead and do that. And of course, perfect opportunity to put in your shameless plugs for any types of sites or projects or whatever that you're working on. That's all good. Shameless plugs are fully welcome here on PSEC. Speaking of which, patreon.com/PSEC Media, PSEC Media. If you want to toss me a few bucks, it would help. Yeah, speaking of shameless plugs. So anyway, Chatelet, praise Keck. Catch you later. May the force be with you. Whatever you want to say about it. Later.